Okay, Justina,
Okay, so my work is a continuing exploration of the human condition. This is my work behind us over here. And I'm very disturbed by how people are devalued or exploited or excluded in society, perhaps because of something about their physicality, their sexual preferences, or eccentricities. And I think this is also an expression of how I feel about myself, my self-worth, and issues that I have with body image. So I'm very interested in the politics of the body. I'm interested in how women perceive themselves, how they perceive other women. I'm interested in how the body ages and ageism, sexuality in all of its various forms, what's considered to be beautiful and what's considered to be ideal. And what happens when you don't fit into this ideal mold? What are the cultural consequences, and how does it affect your standing in society? Does it empower us or does it hurt us? So things like prejudice, acceptance, rejection, humility, compassion, these are all issues that I deal with every day of my life. So when I choose a subject to paint, it's usually somebody that I'm really not close to. And I think oftentimes it may represent my own vulnerabilities, my own fears and insecurities. But I also am very attracted to what I feel is a non-traditional type of beauty. A person that has a certain kind of dignity and majesty that perhaps isn't recognized by other people. So I think that the media also has a lot of influence and influences people. And if you look around my paintings, if you've seen the show already or you know my work, you know that I'm very interested in painting corpulent subjects. And several years ago, before I began painting, I got fired from a job, and I watched a lot of daytime TV. And there used to be this show on TV, you might know it, was called the Sally Jesse Raphael Show. You know it, yes. And oftentimes she would have guests come on, and she would have large women come on. And they would come in and they would talk about self-acceptance. They'd go to a commercial break, they'd come back, and there'd be another segment. And in this segment, there'd be a group of young, slender women. They'd come out and they would berate the first group of women. And I was so touched by this, although I was fascinated by it. I watched it over and over again. But I felt a great deal of compassion for the first group of women because of struggles that I've had with my weight and my mother and all of these other kinds of issues. But I also felt compassion for the other group of women, the slender women, because of their shallowness and stupidity, hoping that they might grow maybe from this experience. So it was around this time that I was deciding that I wanted to be a painter. So what I wanted to paint monumental paintings of large women. And I wanted this to be like a homage to these women, to show their beauty and their worth and just how beautiful they were. And I wanted them to be big and up close and in your face. And that's what I've been doing. And I've been doing with all different types of women. And I think that my challenge in women and different subjects that I have, and I think my challenge as a painter has been, how do I express and paint this feeling that I have about these people, and how do I translate this? So that's what I've been doing up to this point, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. There you go.
That was good. Okay, so me, Robin, the other Robin Ross. I'm going to read from my notes because I made them. Okay, so Justina and I worked on this question together and the theme of the show. So when it came to we have to answer this, I kind of envisioned myself answering it on an intellectual level And then I said, how am I going to bind this with the truth of my personal journey and how it's blended into what I paint? So here I go. My journey, which has been long, has led me to find people who I see as having a deep connection with who they are, their understanding of how connected we as humans are to the sacred earth, and possibly how far that transcends into an alternate reality. So I kind of paint an alternate reality with something as finite as paint. Sometimes the people I choose to represent as spirits may not be aware that I find all of this in them, but I usually see them from a different perspective than most other people do. And that perspective is being that I have survived a number of near-death experiences. And when that happens, you see a lot of visions and things that are unexplainable on the earth that we think of as even extraordinary, but it's kind of beyond that. So the first time I went into one of those experiences, I went into a coma when I was 18 years old. And I was already painting. I had been painting since I was about 6 or 7. And I look back at what I painted at that point in my life, and I see that my work didn't really address the actual theme of survival through grace. So I think I gradually and eventually became aware of being more fearless to be able to expose that to an audience or not. And what I felt I began to expose was a light and energy that I saw. And now, having just 1 year ago physically lived through another one of those experiences, I'm more able to keep seeing the energies that emit through others, and the spirit that I myself want to hold is very positive. So that's almost it. And as far as how I paint, using that energy, I use my hands. I paint through my hands. I am painting specific people, but I'm really painting their energy. And by using paint, which is a very, as I said before, finite, grounded thing, or it comes from the sea, it's used to anyway. Now we have a lot of chemical colors and synthetic colors. So each year the meaning of my work becomes more clear for me as I'm more able to be fluid and use the paint in any way I want to. And that's what grounds me to creating what I know of as a painting.